Hey, and welcome. We are live. Sorry for the delay. We've had a few hitches, but wanted to welcome you all to MASKast chat. On this end, you have Wyatt, and on the other end, I have my good buddy and longtime friend and co-host, Jason.
Hello, I'm a
And
logo tonight.
yes, and joining us are our two other fellow agents, Bill Ferries of MatTracker.com and Erik Toogie of BoulderHill.net. Welcome, guys.
Hey guys.
Hello.
And we are here, kind of gonna get right to the chase. We're here to actually chit chat about the headline of the day. If you have not caught it, we're hearing whispers that Hasbro is introducing what they call a new line called M.A.S.K. So we are going to see what we can theorize and chat about concerning this news, since it was very, very well hidden for some time. And if you listen to our most recent MASKast, Jason and I went on a small rant saying, what's up? Come on. And lo and behold, a week ago, according to you, Jason, you had actually discovered something. Of course, we didn't find it out till today, on the heels of everybody's news headline through Facebook. But I guess there was a presentation made saying
Right.
that. Go ahead.
It was actually more than a week ago that they posted the actual presentation. It was the end of June, June 25th. So apparently this news has been sitting out there for almost a month, and nobody's caught on to it until today when they ran their Q2 presentation online in their webcast. And uh, I woke up this morning and posted to our Facebook page was a person with a link from toyark.com talking about the presentation in that M.A.S.K had been mentioned. And of course, after a couple rumors this year and waiting several years, I was a bit skeptic when I first saw it, and I wanted to hurry up and verify. Actually, listen to the whole webcast. I think you did as well, Wyatt.
Yes.
Didn't hear anything. There was no visuals to the webcast. We kind of caught it after the fact. And I went on Twitter and basically tweeted to ToyArk about where this, because they had this slide, and in those new products was several of their brands: Gem, Micronauts, Stretch Armstrong, and Action Man. And then M.A.S.K, and right below M.A.S.K was a little watermark for ToyArk. And I was like, well, did they did they doctor this picture up? Is this for real? And they finally directed me to the link over on Hasbro's site, and it's actually in their, I guess, press release area. And they have this slideshow that shows basically a rundown of all their brands to investors. And like I said, it was dated June 25th, and in this presentation, lo and behold, we've got a M.A.S.K logo. And it kind of blew up from there. I know Bill and Erik, we were on Facebook chatting back and forth. Did you see this, and what's going on here? But I'll throw it over to you guys and get your reaction. I mean, were you guys skeptical as well when you saw it?
I'm always skeptical. I don't believe anything. So
No, I mean I'm the, I guess, never hopeful one with this. I I believed it, but I needed a little bit more to see.
Yeah.
So as as the day went on, initially I was kind of in meetings all day, and uh, one of our Facebook friends, his name is Jose. He sent me the article initially, and he runs the Peaceful Nation Alliance Facebook page, and he sent it to me, and I was in the meeting, and I'm like, what's this? Like, I wasn't really expecting it. So I keep looking down at my phone, and as I look more and more, I'm like, okay, this is kind of weird. Why would they, I saw the Toy Arc page, and I was like, all right, well, there you go. There's the official announcement, buried in, as you said, it was kind of buried. And then as I was waiting, as I was going back and forth talking to you guys, I was like, Jason, do you have a link? And the link I went to that kind of went through this slideshow was all broken. I guess there was something wrong maybe with some of the code in it or something like that, because it was
it was the transcript of the slideshow from that SlideShare website. It was all garbled.
Yeah, it was coming in like different languages, but I was able to look through it and find slide 12 and then pull the picture up and see, Stretch Armstrong, like you said, and Action Man, and there's masks in there, undoctored on the Hasbro website. So that's that's pretty good to me. I think it was like 12 o'clock when I was finally able to verify it for myself. But I'm pretty happy about it, to be honest.
Yeah. Erik, what say you?
Well, finally seeing something on the Hasbro website is probably the biggest indicator of it actually being legit. And I don't know, I think that's the only thing that I'll believe is something from Hasbro, because we've heard noise down the years that something might happen, and it never has.
Right.
So to see them actually doing that is very cool. It's interesting that they list it as a new brand or whatever. What was the exact thing? Was it new brand?
New brand. But because of that, I'm wondering if it's new to them, because remember that Deke originally owned it. So
Kenner.
It is technically new to them. It is new to Hasbro in that regard. So maybe they're trying to spin it that way, or perhaps even the spinning of new to the masses, like the new Transformers, the new gem that's coming out. That they might be spinning it that way as well. But I wondered if it was because of it being prior Deke Entertainment's asset.
Well, it was all kind of absorbed into Hasbro, the Kenner line, and then Deke was eventually bought out. I can't remember who eventually bought them out as far as the TV rights. Was it Tonka?
Kenner bought Tonka. That's the toy line.
Okay.
Deke was purchased by Cookie Jar Entertainment.
That's right.
I think that they folded. I think Rhino Records had the rights for a while, didn't do anything. I know
overseas it's like Jetix or something that has it and actually is streaming it overseas. But
that's just licensing, though. I don't think they own it.
But yeah, I mean, that was one of the questions I wanted to pose to you guys. Was it is a bit of a dichotomy or whatever, where they're showing it as a new brand, but they're using the old logo. Whereas you look at the other logos on there, like Gem, I mean, that's new.
Right, the Gem logo is brand new. The Micronauts, though, is the old logo.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, that's... Well, so, Micronauts has had a few logos. Micronauts actually got a comic book reboot, like, I don't know, but roughly 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. And they were going to try to make a movie, and it kind of just fell apart. I don't remember what the Stretch Armstrong logo used to be, so...
Yeah,
I don't know
it just
about that.
It seemed like they were using the old logo, and I don't know, quote unquote, what new is, if it's just new for this coming year or what exactly that means. But
I think Wyatt was right.
Somebody had tweeted or posted up today that commented that maybe this is them kind of going the 30th anniversary route first and doing classic stuff, maybe versus trying to introduce a whole new logo and idea or whatever.
Yeah, it's very possible.
Which I would love. First, give me the classic stuff first. If they even, and here's another thing too, just to throw out at you guys is, here it is. We're getting middle of June, towards the end of June or July, and we're only a couple months away for the anniversary. But there's still 6 months left in the year, so you could release anything 30th anniversary through the end of the year. So, is there enough time? Have they been working the whole year, like rumors have been saying since the beginning of the year, to get something out, or is it more likely, in the next year, 2016 or 2017, when they might actually release a cartoon or a toy line?
Well, I think that alone is kind of the big question: is do they plan to launch a cartoon, a toy line, both? It seems like these days they do the cartoons first,
Yeah.
and the toy line follows second, whereas in the 80s and stuff,
it was totally reversed. Yeah.
It was reversed or simultaneous, which, who knows? I mean, it could just be anything, and we're never gonna, we won't know until it happens, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't
What
know.
do you think, Bill?
Well, I think Wyatt was on point with the new products. I think because it's new to maybe Hasbro. I don't know if, because I thought Stretch Armstrong before was Mattel, so I think it's probably wrong on that. But for some reason, I always thought it was Mattel. So I think it's new to them. So I think that's what that meant there. So I think you were right on that, Wyatt. But I don't know. I doubt we'll see anything animated yet. I think they'll probably end up doing stuff that we talked about before, like some kind of 30th anniversary item. Maybe I'm hoping it's not just like a figure pack. I mean, I would be happy with that too. But like there's other Kenner figures that are out. What do they call it? Like Karate Kid and all those.
Oh yeah, the
yeah.
retro action.
Yeah, like maybe they'll do a 2-pack with those the figures and all kinds of things they can do with it. But until we see a little bit more, we have to speculate. But all those rumors, like that Kenner Toys Twitter page. They said before, that people were working on all this, and so I guess, I mean, if all this is true, then like you said, Jason, there's only a couple more months, and
yeah,
you might see something soon. I just find it odd that a lot of the major conventions were bypassed to kind of show anything off. But
yeah, they just passed Comic-Con in San Diego.
Yeah, you had the Toy Fair in New York. There were a couple other ones too, throughout the area that are larger. But Hasbro had a big, part in the Toy Fair area, and there was nothing but basically My Little Pony. So, it's obviously it's not something that they can, show off yet. So I'm guessing by that standard, by that thinking, I'm guessing they probably don't have anything close yet, but I also don't know what it takes to, put together a product that's demo worthy or,
Right.
off the assembly line or whatever they do. I'm guessing I'm gearing more toward, like a 30th anniversary type thing where they recreate something, and then if it possibly takes off a little bit more, then it'll follow suit afterwards. That's what I would anticipate.
But that was surprising to me too, because dropping a logo in a presentation on your website to, well, they haven't really officially announced anything in a press release. But it just seems odd to me. We still have, what is it? We still have New York Comic Con this year. I think it's in October. As far as one of the big cons that are still left, Toy Fair doesn't come back around again, I think, until February. But it's just weird to me, and we sound like a bunch of skeptics. We have probably the 3 most popular M.A.S.K websites on the internet, and we sound like we're a bunch of Debbie Downers. But it's obviously, what have we gotten in the last 20 years? We've gotten a G.I. Joe. Yeah, we've gotten a G.I. Joe figure. We've gotten a poor attempt at a comic book, reboot.
Oh yeah, they. I don't know what the point of that was.
I don't know either.
The only thing is, I know that with certain rules with intellectual property, that you have to use the property within certain spans of time, or
to keep it,
or it defaults to being open.
Right.
So that may have been let's just stick him in G.I. Joe for 1 page, and then we're safe for 10 more years, or whatever the...
It very well could have been, but it just seemed... And that comic book was actually at, I think, New York Comic Con in 2011 or 2012.
It wasn't even for sale. It was a giveaway.
Right. So...
I think I have it.
My point is, it's just an odd way to just kind of sneak it under the radar almost, and not just come out and say, "Hey, we're working on something" in an actual, press release or something, to give the fans something to chew on for a while. It's just almost like we had to dig and dig and dig, and somebody finally, brought it up at this webcast, or it would probably still be out there,
right,
dangling on Hasbro's website in this slideshow. And I don't know. It's still, I want to be. Obviously, we're all excited that there's actually something official on their website, but at the same time, it's like, well, what are they doing here? Why did they go about it this way, and why haven't we got anything more to kind of whet our appetites to keep it going?
And then there's another option, is that they may do, for lack of a better word, a half-assed thing, where they do they do those web series, and they put out 10 7-minute flash animation videos, which, I mean, look, at this point, I'll take anything. You could just release an old Tonka trunk with a M.A.S.K sticker on it and be like, ooh, but those web series tend to have lower production values, lower quality, if you will, which is too bad, because I think that M.A.S.K would be pretty popular if
and
given a real shot.
I agree with Bill in that they missed a huge opportunity in San Diego.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we got plenty of My Little Pony. We got a new Transformers series that they touted, and then I think they announced a Micronauts comic book alliance with IDW or one of those comic book companies, and starting a couple other series. But that's pretty much the biggest stage there is.
Yeah. There's no
throughout
question
the year. And if you're going to seriously put some effort behind this, and you've had people working on the scene for months now, why would you do a little tease there? I just don't. I don't get that. But
I'm worried that part of the momentum that M.A.S.K as a reboot or a relaunch may get is based on how Gem does. And just because they're both relatively well known, but still not top tier, and they're from very much the same period. At the top we've got G.I. Joe, we've got Transformers. Pretty much no question. Those two, for '80s
True.
cartoon action stuff, I don't think anything beats Transformers or G.I. Joe. Probably Transformers being the number one, because Transformers, they never really even stopped making shows or toys.
Right.
They've always had something on the shelf, and they've always had some sort of
Something on the air.
Transformer. Yeah. But then Gem, Gem was definitely for girls. I mean, I watched it.
Maybe that's what they were catering to with Gem, is trying to get into the girls' market once again.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, they're definitely in that market with My Little Pony, and they're, part of that webcast I heard today was a new animated My Little Pony movie that's they're coming out through their Allspark Productions film production company, and yeah, that's just separate to me. And I think it was significant too because a couple people noticed up on Toy Arc, and there's several sister sites they have. One is histank.com, which is all G.I. Joe stuff, and then they have a Transformer site, and a couple of them were like, "Where's G.I. Joe?" And then that got me thinking, well, okay, maybe they're putting their G.I. Joe money into M.A.S.K. I mean, that's a possibility.
I'm still surprised that we haven't seen M.A.S.K. brought into the G.I. Joe world.
True.
Because it just makes a lot of sense to me. G.I. Joe has never, in my opinion, really been about a specific character. There's a couple, maybe with the exception of Snake Eyes. There's some other characters that are known, but as a general thing, like G.I. Joe is more of a theme. And I think you could easily, just integrate M.A.S.K. right into G.I. Joe without any real problems. And then you would have a huge built-in audience who would at least try it out.
Right.
But still nothing there, so... And, I'm sorry, we also had M.A.S.K. show up in Transformers Prime.
That's right. One small little reference. What was it on, like a door or something?
No, it wasn't even,
was it just
M.A.S.K. wasn't written,
something?
it was spoken in an episode, and I didn't watch Transformers Prime, and
Neither did I.
I only watched about 5 minutes of one episode to try. Well, actually, I skimmed through that entire episode, but it was just a truck that they brought in to let Optimus copy as a new vehicle mode for him, and then it never got brought up again. I was like, why do they? What's the point of that? Like, it can't possibly have been enough to bring people like, oh, I can't wait to see what's going to happen with M.A.S.K. But it's also, I don't know. It's just weird references.
Yeah, there's just no pattern, no normal pattern. That
if it is a new toy line, do you guys, or if it's a toy, if it's toys that they're talking about bringing out, and given that it came from Hasbro and not from like a production company, I feel like that's maybe more likely. Do you think it'll be something new, or do you think they're going to re-release?
I think they're going to re-release first before they try a new line, because they don't even have a good basis to do a new line with. They don't have a movie or a TV show or cartoon or anything to base it off of. So I would think they do a reissue. They might try to toy with things, like they might, just for the sake of argument, they might try to update the Camaro to one of the modern Camaros, or maybe Condor to a
Transformers
modern.
already did that one though, right?
That's it. So I'm wondering if they might try that, but I think the rest are going to be kind of the staples that you'd see in the 80s toys that we have. So that's my take. I really don't know what they would do.
Yeah. Also, given that the M.A.S.K. products have changed hands a couple times, it's possible that they don't have the molds anymore.
That is true. They could not, and that might have been the hang-up all this time with getting something out, because they were working out the last minute, like rights and who owned this and who owned that. That could have been part of their hang-up. And now that they've teased us, or at least teased the girls with Gem, maybe they've now solidified that they have full M.A.S.K. rights or whatever it is to start start that next venture, and maybe that's why it's new. Again, on their little presentation.
Yeah. If I had to speculate, which I do a great deal on this show,
we all do, right?
I would say that they're going to go with a brand new series, and just to try to build a new audience in this generation, and try to get enough in there to appease us that have been screaming at them for 25 years to do something, or 20 years.
That does seem to be
But
that does seem to be their style, because My Little Pony was definitely a lot different than the one from the 80s, and then the G.I. Joe movies were pretty different, and Gem's pretty different too, from what I've seen of trailers and screenshots. So
I think they have something, and this is just me, again, my speculation, but what's big right now for Hasbro? It's Star Wars. The new movie comes out in December.
Sure.
I think they mentioned today in the webcast that they're going to release the full line sometime in September. So, M.A.S.K could be waiting on the other side of that once that dust settles, if it does settle at all. It might just be they might just keep moving with that right into there's a couple other movies that they've already hinted at. Han Solo movie.
That would be really ironic, because M.A.S.K M.A.S.K got picked up by Kenner because they were winding down on Star Wars. Kenner had 8 years of incredible sales on Star Wars, but the movies were done and out, and they needed something new, and they took a shot, and they moved into M.A.S.K, and it, you can't argue that it wasn't successful. They put out 4 toy lines plus a whole bunch of other stuff and merchandise. Like, they obviously made good money on it. So.
Oh yeah. But I just think that once you get Transformers and Star Wars taken care of, you get some cash flow in, and then you try to reboot M.A.S.K. Maybe next year or something. Maybe there's a few things the end of this year or something, just to, like we were saying, you kind of whet the fans' appetite for the 30th anniversary. But I would say they would go totally new. That's just me. But
what do you think,
Bill? I was going to say, let's get Bill back into this conversation.
I wouldn't mind. I mean, obviously anything would be great. Like how Ninja Turtles does a classic line. Every so often they put out something. He-Man has like their classic figures and things of that nature. So, if they were going to go something new, it would be something probably limited, small, not maybe not as big as the first series was for M.A.S.K, but maybe you do one retro type thing. Maybe they finally make Shark, or maybe they do something like that. Maybe they continue. Maybe they make some other things in the series. There's all kinds of possibilities they could do with it. It's hard to tell. Seeing it, I'm not doubting it anymore. I just now you have to kind of use your imagination a little bit, and then kind of gauge it from there. If they do something new, it would be better for them, because I would imagine that the molds that, as you guys were saying, they're probably almost non-existent, but they probably want to use a cheaper plastic. And I don't know.
Who knows, the plastic they might have used for M.A.S.K back in the day might even be considered like a hazardous substance now. And we're all hoarding death in our closets. So
could be.
Don't tell anybody.
It might be a cheaper plastic. It might be whatever. It doesn't really matter. But obviously they kept that M.A.S.K logo that was there from 1985. as their, in their little slideshow there, and it's whether or not it's continuation, reboot, a brand new line, anything like that. Anything they do, I'm fully okay with. And as things pop up, I'm sure each one of us will have some sort of news posted about it.
Right.
And obviously, with this coming out, maybe we can try to reach out to Hasbro again. I know we've tried before in the past. Nobody's really answered us, but now there's some names that we can maybe send an email to and ask.
We can ask, what's her name? Alexia Leventis Taxlarco.
Obviously,
the lady who posted the slideshow.
Yeah, obviously she can't. She probably can't do too much, but as time passes, if we're still waiting on something, say, hey, we saw your slideshow. We're just wondering.
We may be able to get access to like general press release media, stuff like that.
Yeah.
The web.
Get on their list.
Yeah, it's just free advertising for them. We're not trying to get anything.
As Jason said, it's out there for a month almost. So,
right.
But I admit I wasn't actively checking their.
Yeah, I ended up went out and actually found their RSS feeds for press releases and licensing and something else today, and I threw them in my in my feed reader.
Oh, you're gonna need to send that over to me.
Yeah, I'll send y'all a link. I'll even post it up for anybody who wants it. But
that sounds good.
There was like 6 or 7 of them that I chose 2 or 3 that I thought would fit where they would put M.A.S.K if they released it or whatever. But
I have a question for you 3. So now that it looks like something may be coming out, are any of you worried that they're going to ruin it? As is always, like, people have these fears, like they're gonna ruin it with the reboot.
It's not Michael Bay. Yeah, I saw that a couple times a day.
I will start off by saying that at this point, like, I don't care. I don't think they can ruin it because what they made 30 years ago won't disappear. True. And so to me, it's just a chance to get more. But Wyatt, what do you think?
I won't say that they'll ruin it, with my mature eyes, but at the same time, I just hope they don't. I hope it doesn't become something completely different. And what I mean is, it becomes strictly more of a G.I. Joe setup than what we grew up with, where the cars are part of the whole scenario, where you got the. I hate to relate it like this, but they're basically like the Michael Knight. You got Kit that can do whatever he wants, and you got Michael doing the investigative and stuff, except that dude has a mask that can actually have powers and get themselves in or out of trouble, however the case may be. So I'm hoping that they kind of keep what M.A.S.K was in place. Now, if they come out and say, Thunderhawk is, now a Porsche and move the Camaro to the Shark, whatever. I'm kind of happy that they at least brought M.A.S.K back. But I don't know that they could ruin it, like I said, except unless they really just change the whole format completely.
Right.
How about you, Bill?
No, I'm not really worried about it. You look at their Star Wars lines they do, all different sizes, variations. They're all pretty well done from what I've seen. I don't really collect them, but everything's pretty well done. Their Marvel series that they do, the 3 and 3/4 size figures, and the Marvel Legends.
The Legends
figures. So they took those over from Toy Biz, I think, and the Toy Biz ones were really loose and just kind of like made it like thin and inferior. And Hasbro, some people might not like a little bit more of the bulkiness to them, but figures stand the test of time, I think, a little better. So I'm not not concerned about that at all. I think whatever they do, like I said, I was saying like cheaper plastic earlier, but not that it's cheaper, but everything from back in the day, it was probably done with a lot more care, I would say, just because there's a lot of metal involved too, and
Yep.
things like that. So they'll probably try to maybe reduce a lot of that. Maybe not have as much metal, be more plastic for the transformations. But said it, they do a pretty good job. I mean, any tool you walk down now, it's almost all Hasbro stuff anyway.
Yeah.
That you're seeing. So, no, I wouldn't be worried about it at all.
Cool. Jason?
Yeah, I'm not worried. I mean, there's certain standards you have to stick to when you're talking about a concept, So it's not like I don't think they're going to go totally off base and it be mask and name only. I don't think they would do that. Not actually have a mask, or it could be the way things are. Nowadays it could be anything, but I think they're gonna be kind of true to the concept. I'm actually kind of looking forward to maybe new concepts with the vehicles and new agents, and see what they could do there.
Mm-hmm.
I think they will try to, keep us who remember it in the 80s as that 80s property appeased. But still, like Wyatt was saying, it doesn't. They might not even go with some kind of license through Chevy or one of the car manufacturers. It could be just kind of plain Jane cars. It's kind of like what they did with Bumblebee in Transformers Prime. It's not. It kind of looks like the Camaro, but they don't have the Chevy emblem on it. That kind of a thing. So, it just could be totally customized vehicles that they release. And a lot of people get on everything's being rebooted, and I'm kind of in that bandwagon. There's certain things that I just totally refuse to watch, like the
new
Karate
Ghostbusters.
Kid. Now the Ghostbusters, I could talk to you a half an hour about that. But, all the bells and whistles of the original are there, and what I was waiting for, the car, the packs, that whole thing. I think there's enough there in Ghostbusters that I might actually go see it in the theater. But there's this whole thing. Well, Michael Bay ruined my childhood, as an example. That's the cliche.
Right.
He totally screwed everything up with Transformers and Turtles and whatever else. And there's some legitimacy to that. I'm not going to totally say that, some of those Transformers movies were just awful. But there's still
the first one was okay, right?
Right. There's still the fact that those franchises hold enough value for companies to put something together and kind of keep it moving forward, and that leads to new cartoons and whatever down the line. Transformers, which are so much better, and this new video game. Have y'all seen that? The trailers for the new Transformers game?
No.
No. Excuse me 1 second, guys.
It's just totally like G1 Transformers in a kind of a beat 'em up video game. It looks really cool. So, I guess my point is, there's a certain responsibility, I think, on our shoulders to say to our kids or to whoever that we're passing this down the line that, okay, this is the Transformers the Transformers I remember back in the 80s. They look like this and stuff. This is kind of a new concept or whatever. It just kills me to see those kids react videos and they show them like Optimus Prime. That's not Optimus Prime, That's not Bumblebee. Bumblebee's a Camaro, And I'm like, oh, I can strangle those parents. Teach your kids, a little bit about the history of the stuff. And, if they like it or if they don't like it, so be it. But don't blame the juggernaut that is Michael Bay and all these other film companies just wanting to make some money, because that's their goal. Their goal isn't to appease us.
No, and that
It's
was
to
their
make
goal
money.
30 years ago too.
Right.
Let's
But we
be
just-
honest.
Yeah, and we still gravitated towards most of what they gave us. But and then there's still those cases where, like that other Ghostbusters cartoon that everybody likes to rag on with the monkey.
Oh yeah.
There's certain things that are good and bad, and I'm not worried about them screwing up M.A.S.K. I'm just happy that it's kind of the talk of the town now, and it appears at least that they've given us a window to look through to something bigger and better down the line. But again, we'll just have to wait and see, and as we come up on the 30th anniversary, I think we're all trying to do our part in celebrating and keeping everything going from our standpoint as fans and just fans of the franchise.
Right.
Yeah.
We'll be Wyatt and Bill for sure will be in RetroCon in Philadelphia in September. I guess we can talk about that for a little bit.
Oh yeah, I don't know much about it. That's on the other side of the world to me. So I know that Doug Stone is going to be there. Any of you guys want to tell me a little more? That's all. That's the extent of what I've got. So I might have sounded knowledgeable for a moment, but I'm done.
Well, the latest and greatest is it sounds like Bill and Wyatt and Doug might actually get together for a panel, a separate M.A.S.K panel at RetroCon to talk about the franchise. Hopefully there'll be more information released too, from the Hasbro side to really get some interest going there. But I think that's the latest and greatest as far as having MattTracker.com and Agents of M.A.S.K present with Doug to field some questions.
Official panel then? I mean, is that going to be like in the cons program?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting from it. What about you, Bill?
Yeah, it's still planning, but from my understanding, yeah, pretty much I'll be sitting up there with Wyatt and Doug and fielding questions, something that I never thought in my lifetime I'd be doing. So.
You and I both.
And when is it? When is it?
September 12th and the 13th, and it's at Oaks, Pennsylvania. It's called the Greater Philly Expo Center. I have their webpage up in front of me. It's if you go to RetroCons, plural.com, and just to highlight, we have voice actors besides Doug Stone, as much as he's kind of the highlight for us. Larry Kenney, who voiced Lion-O, if you remember him from Thundercats, and Bluegrass from Silverhawks. Michael Bell, who played Duke on G.I. Joe, Prowl on Transformers. He's also
Michael
Lance.
Bell's done so much.
Yes, he has. Michael McConaughey. He played the G-Trax from Transformers and the Lich King, as well as John Machida. You might recognize him as the Micro Machines dude.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Blur. He's going to be there as well. So
I'm excited about the Angry Video Game nerd. James Rolfe, Cinemassacre. He does a lot of really cool stuff. So that'll be cool too to see him there, and I think the DeLorean's going to be there too. So.
Yes, the DeLorean's going to be there.
Yeah, so I like to meet the DeLorean. While I'm there.
I will mention too that they are putting a panel together with all the voice actors too. So
yeah, they're going to do a panel like that, and then just one for M.A.S.K. So hopefully, as more information comes in, we will definitely pass that along. I imagine that Wyatt and I will have to probably get busy on a couple of things as well. Yeah. We'll confirm.
Jason's already getting pretty busy on making flyers and such
Yeah, I'm putting together. I've been talking with Tony, and just a shout out to Tony over at RetroCon. Actually put our logo up on the website as an official affiliate, which I really appreciate. I'm putting together a little handout flyer, basically, that has our 3 websites and information, basically just be free out in the general area for people to pick up and hopefully connect with us, and with this podcast too. And then, I don't know, we'll see. I'm trying to hold off now that we've got a little bit of word from Hasbro that we'll put some other, more official stuff on there, as far as go to here on the Hasbro website and check out what's coming up. But I'm also going to
do that whole thing.
Well, I'm putting a section in there too for Facebook groups for M.A.S.K, because there's a bunch of those for collectors and toys and just whatever M.A.S.K related, and several other websites, M.A.S.K Comics, Albert Pineo, all the M.A.S.K resources that are available too. I'm going to try to put all those on that one little panel in this little trifold brochure, and then we'll get that shipped up there and have that set out. And then I'm also, for those of you who are considering attending, I can't remember how much, Wyatt, you said the tickets were, but Doug Stone is signing for free. He's not charging anything. So if you want to bring your Thunderhawk,
Wyatt, you may have to make a...
I've joked before, but I really am thinking what I'm going to see in the next month or so. I'm going to see a huge box coming from Jason of all of his toys, and he's going to make me be the shameful guy that's going to go, Doug, I know you're probably going to go get an arm or a finger cramp here, but can you sign all these for Jason?
No. I just want my Paul Pamphilone Spectrum poster.
I need to get one. Paul, send me one now. I got freaking Venom. I was the one to pick too.
Yeah, you picked the Viper.
Maybe Brendan McCain will come next year. So
there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
But
to
yeah,
answer your question, the tickets are $17 for Saturday. Sunday, it's $15. Kids get to enter for free, 12 and under, with a paying adult. But they have deals. If you buy what they call a weekend ticket, it's $22 for one, and you can just keep doubling the price basically for 2 tickets. 22 for one, 44 for 2, and the list goes on and on.
But it's great that I think it's great. Well, this is Doug's first con too, so it's great that he's doing it for free, and to get the fans interested and to get their stuff, if they have something they want to get signed, just to take it. And then if you don't want to, tote your Outlaw under your arm for the whole Comic-Con, I'm going to try to put together a little photo montage of all the M.A.S.K characters that Doug voiced, and send those up there as well, so there'll be something there in case you didn't bring anything, you want to get them to sign something. I'm going to try to put that together as well.
Probably could sign the pamphlet you're putting together too.
That's true.
I don't know if there'll be space, but
fair enough.
But yeah, I mean, we're trying to, in other words, help supply RetroCon with what they need, and Doug as well, to make him feel welcome at his first con. So.
Right. And that's why I'm going. Honestly, I've never been to a Comic-Con. I've had a slight interest, but I've never been. I'll say I haven't been ballsy enough to go. But
this is in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, it's in
Philadelphia. Yeah.
I wonder if I should try to go.
This will be my first one as well.
We're gonna bum rush poor Doug. But,
well, I was telling Wyatt today. I was telling Wyatt today that if more stuff does come out from Hasbro, and this might be a once in a lifetime thing, so I might have to take a day off work and drive myself up there or something.
How long does it take to drive from LA to Pennsylvania? Maybe Doug will put me in his suitcase.
There you go. He's out there
somewhere down there.
He lives in Los Angeles. Every time I'm out of the house, I'm always like, I wonder if I'll bump into him today. He does a lot of great activism work with rescue and animal stuff, and so I've actually been tempted to go to some of the things he's done and bring along a toy, but I'm like, that's just not the right. That'd be so weird to show up. He's like, do you want to adopt a cat? No. Do you want to sign Thunderhawk? No.
Maybe you can do it in trade. You get a cat, you get a signed Thunderhawk.
I'm so allergic. That's the problem. I'm deathly allergic to cats and dogs. So,
wow.
Otherwise, I would happily. But,
well, what else do we got?
I'm very motivated now, and I think I'm going to try to put something together too. So if either Bill or Wyatt, if either of you don't mind me mailing you a box of something before September.
No, we don't mind.
Okay, cool. Maybe some cards or something fun. So.
Okay. Yeah. I'll have to upgrade my backpack to the Mountaineer pack.
With the wheels.
Yeah.
Rent a U-Haul.
I think there's a limit.
No.
I think they'd be a little suspicious if I drove up in a U-Haul and said, "Hey, Doug, can you actually step out from the table and just walk out to the U-Haul?"
You meet me at my van.
Down by the river.
Here, drink this.
Yeah. All right. Well.
I think we've beat this horse.
Oh yeah. But it's been fun.
I do want to thank you guys for coming on tonight and getting a little reaction time. And I was chomping at the bit all day to talk about it, and we hashed out some good stuff. And I know, three of us and four of us total, 3 websites will be on track of trying to keep this out there, and any news we'll pass along, and just like we normally do, we try to promote each other,
right?
For the cause, But appreciate you guys coming on tonight.
Thanks for inviting me.
No problem.
Yeah.
So, you want to take us home, Wyatt? And again, we appreciate you guys. The viewers have been on tonight, and listeners that will be listening to this hopefully tomorrow in podcast form. We appreciate you guys listening to MASKast, and we'll just keep on keeping on, as I say sometimes, as we eagerly anticipate M.A.S.K coming back from Hasbro.
Right, and again, I want to thank Bill and Erik for joining us and getting their take on what we've seen from Hasbro, even though it seems to be just a glimpse right now, and we've speculated all night long, it seems, but we're really looking forward to seeing what Hasbro has for us, even if it's just a toy line, a comic strip, something. But until we get something more plausible, we will obviously, like Jason said, put the news up on Facebook, our blog, and such. And if obviously our gang here sees something, I'm sure they will hit the broadcast alarms as well for us. We want to invite you to RetroCon if you are in the area to visit. Kind of give a little plug to them and to see Doug Stone in person. And I think that's it for now. Until the next time, I'm Wyatt. Thank you for listening and watching MASKast Chat.